Rampage Knights is the classic example of never judge a book by its cover. Or, in this case a game, or else you'll miss out on clever ideas, innovative game design, a marriage of genres that are just a match made in heaven or hell, and of course, most importantly of all, the opportunity to have a butt for a face. You don't want to miss out on this hidden gem. But I can hardly blame you if this one slipped under your radar, because let's be real, between this cover art and the use of 2D skeletal animation, that style where the body and the limbs are clearly not attached and are animated separately, Rampage Knights looks like a glorified Flash game. And of course there are some amazing Flash games out there, but they usually don't have a price tag on them. So for many, it's gonna take a bit more to justify unsheathing those shovels to dig for that gem. Released in 2015 by Rake in the Grass.
Rake's my old arch enemy.
For PC and Switch, despite a failed Indiegogo campaign, so already, way to stick to your guns guys, Rampage Knights is a violent, gory, 2-player co-op hack and slash indie game, just brimming with crude humor, challenge, and replayability. The latter of which is not a commentary to the genre. Trust me, I know. And while I can easily say that some of the awesome ideas that go hand in hand with the co-op is what makes this game shine, I think we can all agree that the major standout here has to be the blending of genres. Combining hack and slash action with a gameplay style that has definitely oversaturated the indie market, but to my knowledge, has never been used with a straight up brawler. And hopefully, this won't be the last time either, as these two go together like peanut butter and jelly, fish and chips, or Ash and a shotgun.
Name's Ash.
Rampage Knights isn't just a hack and slash. It's also a roguelike. The scenario is simple enough. An evil wizard has robbed you of your hard-earned gold, and it's time for revenge. But obviously it's not going to be that easy. Right out the gate, everything is locked. For now. With the exception of a few cosmetics. I, of course, chose to be an anime girl. Because I'm manly. With nowhere else to go, it's off to the castle. And standing between you and your treasure trove is a cavalcade of monstrosities. Orcs, giants, demons, jack-o'-lanterns, Danny Treyho, and even the Kako demon from Doom. Yeah, that's totally him. Should you fail, being a roguelike, a different lineup of those beasts will be waiting for you on your next go-around, as you mostly restart from scratch. You've got your standard combo attack, a charge attack that kind of doubles as a dash attack, a jump attack, a grapple throw, you can Dark Souls around to evade, and what I'd love to see in every single hack and slash beat 'em up ever is the ability to curb stomp your enemies while they are down. God, that is so satisfying. As you progress, the roguelike elements will come into play. As you traverse randomly generated arenas, you'll find new gear with perks like double jumps or size increases, magical items that let you freeze foes or rain down the fire of freedom on them, and let's just say, you'll find some even riskier opportunities for greater payouts. Across the top, you'll find your inventory bar, where you keep your projectiles, your spells, consumables, and everything else. If RNG is in your favor, you'll end up with gear that gives you moves and abilities. Or maybe your personality will just shine through. Yeah, the graphics and humor kinda go hand in hand with this one. Really reminds me of the gross out humor from the 90s, with cartoons that really tried to push those boundaries without ever going so far that they'd get in trouble. Say like Ren and Stimpy, or even modern takes like Rick and Morty, which, I'll be frank, this art style really isn't my cup of tea, and I could definitely see it turning off some people. Me myself, I am all about that clean anime style, because once again, manly. To each their own, but let me just say that this style isn't bad, but it's certainly a mixed bag. Functionally, everything works great, and personally, I love the detailed environments with their cartoony look. And the glows and shadows that punctuate certain areas with fire and rain are a nice touch in a 2D game. Every area and room is detailed, looks bright, crisp, and clean, despite being caked with gore. Plus, every hit causes showers of blood to rain down. So, clobbering hordes of baddies is a bit of a spectacle. Though, I can't quite say the same for the characters and monsters. And while fitting in well with the hand-drawn world, they just kinda look cheap. Like I said before, the game just gives off an amateur Flash vibe, with the blame absolutely falling on the characters, like how they're just side profiles. Movement, while again quite functional and does feel right, there are no control issues here, is still very simple and plain. You're not going to be pulling off any epic looking juggles or combos here, you're just smacking dudes around. And the music unfortunately suffers the same fate, but more so because it's nothing particularly special. Rampage Knights is jam-packed with some great action tracks that keep the combat flowing and is satisfying. But nothing about it really stands out or is memorable. It's just solid action. But you know what? That's alright. Because the co-op and replay value here carries these minor shortcomings hard. Unless you're an absolute gaming badass, odds are you're gonna die. And probably in the game too. But that's when Rampage Knights really starts to branch out. Unlike most brawlers where you have a selection of characters, usually the light, medium, and heavy fighters, Rampage Knights has classes, but at the start, they're barred off. So your first run is going to have you start off as a basic adventurer, your average fighter with nothing special going on for them. You know, like you, IRL. During your run, you'll be able to accomplish goals, like killing 50 enemies, collecting 1k gold, acquiring a double jump, using 3 scrolls, etc, etc, etc. There are a lot. Accomplish a set amount of goals over one or multiple runs, and you can unlock different classes. The Barbarian, Pirate, Assassin, Warlock, Battle Mage are all up for grabs, giving you multiple reasons to try out different strategies to unlock them all, as each adds a nice pinch of variety to the combat with what they offer. But even without any of that, it's possible to really diversify your playstyle based solely on how the RNG of the runs treats you and what kind of risks you're willing to take for more power. Playing with my buddy KiguRoomie, check him out for awesome music and reviews. The two of us, despite technically being the same character, ended up playing quite differently, with me focusing more on mobility and survival, and him being more of a risk taker, just downing any stat altering potion like it was happy hour. And while we're on the subject of a night out in the town with your friends, the last thing I absolutely want to talk about is the sweet, sweet co-op. Anyone who knows anything about beat 'em ups and hack and slashes knows that the genre is all about cracking skulls with a buddy by your side. And Rampage Knights puts even some of the biggest contenders in the field to absolute shame with how well it handles its co-op both technically and innovatively. Due to the failure of the Indiegogo campaign, sadly, Rampage Knights was not able to get the intended 4-player co-op going. But they did temper the game for 2-player co-op, for the modern era no less, with both local and proper online co-op, not requiring you to use Parsec or remote play if you really don't want to have to rely on those things. Something that much bigger name titles like say Battletoads or River City Girls couldn't be bothered to do, despite a proper budget and releasing years later. But without a doubt, my favorite mechanic of all has to be death itself, because I just love seeing modern takes on the classic live systems of old. While the single player mode is just stuck with a simple live system, in co-op, when one player drops, the second player has a chance to revive them. But unlike Gears of War, Battletoads, or even Cuphead, it isn't about doing it in a set amount of time. When a player bites it, they're dead. But you can revive them by getting 10 kills. And it doesn't matter what on, small minions or giant bosses, souls are all the same in the eyes of death. See, that means even I have value. Take that, internet. Though, that also means your ability to resurrect your partner is gonna vary and challenge. Sucks to be you if you're low on health and getting swarmed, but that's the nature of the beast. Lucky for you though, I mean, as lucky as it gets when it comes to getting killed, it's a shallow grave, as your companion isn't just stuck on the sidelines. While dead, they can come back as a spook, who can deal out a whopping 1 damage. Okay, obviously pretty worthless, but they can knock foes back, as well as you, so be careful. But this does allow them to actually knock foes off ledges, which yes does count towards the 10 souls, or at minimum, they can hold foes back, giving the living player some much needed breathing room, and a better shot at actually reaching the end. And once you see those credits roll, surprise! More replayability, as you unlock higher difficulties and other gameplay modes, like an endless dungeon, arena, and Bombirama. And they are worth checking out. The merger of roguelike and brawler is brilliant, and honestly should become the norm for the genre, as it really helps offset the repetitive nature, and really makes every playthrough feel more unique. Combine that with excellent co-op and a clever resurrection method, Rampage Knights stands above so many of its contemporaries, despite some potentially off-putting visuals and average music. If you like brawlers, roguelikes, or are just looking for a fun co-op experience, Rampage Knights is a hidden gem and an absolute must, but especially if you've got a friend to play it with. It comes highly recommended.